Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. I hope everyone's doing well and that people are following through with their New Year's resolutions. It's good to be back. I haven't posted in a while. The last couple months have been quite the roller coaster, like truly quite the roller coaster. But things have sort of settled down a little bit, and I thought I'd sit down in front of the camera and just talk a little bit, kind of have one of these coffee chats in the usual way of our yeah, my usual videos. So I just wanted to kind of go through, give a quick life update, and then also talk a little bit about some books that I've been reading and that I recently picked up, and yeah, just kind of go from there. So in terms of life updates, honestly, the biggest thing has been that I recently left my job a few months ago. So I was working as a product manager in tech, um, sort of in ed tech and on an AI team, and I recently left and basically just decided to sort of start my own like AI consultancy. And so what I do now is I just work with businesses and I basically help them kind of like I basically consult them on AI and help them implement AI solutions and systems into their businesses. And yeah, and so I kind of just left my job and decided to do that. Well, I knew that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, and obviously saw the like opportunity and kind of thought it might make sense for me to sort of leverage my background. But yeah, that has sort of been the last few months. It's basically been the main reason why I've sort of been absent is just trying to figure out how to actually, run a business and find clients and, do everything from setting up a website to sending up proposals to negotiating deals and figuring out, like how do I actually decide on what services to provide? How do I actually give value to people? So it has been such a difficult but rewarding journey, and I'm super grateful to be where I am right now, where I have a little bit more stability, and yeah, I can just kind of think about where I want to kind of take things going forward. And so with that, like one of the things is obviously, I love posting these videos. I love kind of talking about books, and I want to bring back some of that creativity. And honestly, this community has just been super awesome, and I feel very blessed to be able to talk with all of you. And everyone's comments are always so nice. So it would be such a shame to not take advantage and post these videos and continue to engage and nurture this community. So I absolutely want to continue doing that. And yeah, I guess just going forward, I just want to post more regularly. I'm also planning to start a newsletter, so you'll probably see a link in the description to that. Just to kind of share some thoughts, and I think really just like formalize my writing. I think writing is like one thing that I've always loved. It's something that I've always been quite proud of my writing, and it's like basically non-existent besides when I'm typing up emails. And so I think it would be really good to sort of use writing as a tool to clarify my thinking, obviously share thoughts with you guys, and just have like a longer format than video. I mean, obviously video is great, but where I can really sort of refine and clarify my thoughts over a couple of days or a couple of weeks and kind of share that with folks. So yeah, those are the two main things. And I just thought I'd keep it super brief. Maybe in another video I can kind of dive into things a little bit more. And yeah, I thought I'd just talk about a few different books that I've been reading and what's sort of been helpful on the journey. I know I'm honestly I'm talking about these things really casually, but I will say that the last basically like 4 or 5 months has probably been the toughest 5 months of my life, and I think that yeah, I've just been like super difficult. But I'm so grateful that I sort of made that decision and sort of bet on myself, and yeah, and I'm sort of here now, and I am. I think that I was able to, come out of that period better and hopefully on a new path and with a lot of potential going forward. So anyway, on to the actual books. So I want to talk about a few. Honestly, there's been a lot that I've been reading, kind of like around a lot around entrepreneurship. Also, I'm still sort of in this phase of spirituality, and a lot of like Buddhism and sort of thinking about like seeing things objectively and just paying attention to like my own sort of inner consciousness and my own sort of mind, and that's been super helpful. I think that's absolutely something that will stick with me probably for the rest of my life. And then some just like books on like creativity and navigating hardships and everything like that. So maybe the first one I'll talk about is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And so this one I actually picked up maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I'm maybe like a quarter of the way through. I'm not going to talk like too in depth right now, but essentially it kind of, I'm not sure if he himself is, actually I don't think that he himself is Buddhist, or that he practices Buddhism. But again, it sort of continues on this sort of spiritual note of paying attention to one's mind, paying attention to consciousness, kind of like being able to kind of sit back and observe what you're sort of experiencing without much judgment and sort of from this objective perspective. So again, continue with the Buddhism stuff. This has been super helpful. Maybe I'll also just reference, so one of the books that I recently talked about in a previous video was The Art of Happiness. And this one is co-written by the Dalai Lama and a psychiatrist called Howard Cutler. And this was probably the first like kind of book that sort of teased me on some of these like Buddhist ideas. And I'll obviously, write about this more and talk about this in more depth in an actual video. But yeah, that's just absolutely been a trend and something that I imagine that I'll continue sort of doing and continue to explore. I also picked up this one book on economics called Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. This book I picked up because as I'm sort of like going on this sort of like entrepreneurial journey, and I'm sort of noticing a lot, especially being in the AI space and sort of seeing how dynamic and how things sort of change on a pretty regular basis, I thought it would be a really good idea for me to just try and understand more about what's sort of going on in markets, and sort of like incentives between consumers, producers, all of that, and yeah, just understand things from more foundational sort of first principles. So I do think that diving into economics will be another area that I sort of like dive into and continue with. And then let's see, another one that I have here is The Artist's Way. Hopefully folks have kind of heard of this. I know this one's super popular. I picked this up and maybe read like the first like 10 pages, and that was enough for it to kind of inspire and kind of really like change my habits. And so one of the things that it first talks about is this idea of like committing to morning pages, which is basically like writing stream of consciousness for like the first like half an hour or 45 minutes in the day. And I read about that in the first 10 pages and then like immediately started implementing it, and it's literally stuck with me basically for the last like 3 months. And so I actually haven't come back to this book other than those first 10 pages, but I think that is pretty representative of kind of like how I've been approaching reading these last few months, just with my kind of chaotic schedule, is just kind of leaning into things, and being okay with kind of taking books slowly and kind of taking what I need and then coming back to it. And I sort of have like kind of like 6 books that are constantly in rotation, and maybe one after a couple months, like one of those falls off and another one comes in. But yeah, that's absolutely what I would say. Another book here on some Buddhist principles by a Western psychologist and also a Buddhist teacher called Jack Kornfield. He's pretty popular, so I imagine that maybe anyone who's sort of interested or has explored some of this Buddhism stuff before as well has probably heard of him. But he's amazing. I really like his writing. I just really like his sort of like life path. And again, maybe honestly in a video I should like dive into this a little bit more. And I know I'm kind of talking pretty high level, but yeah, this book has been really, really powerful. I think more kind of like understanding, again, around the consciousness. Honestly, it's pretty similar to the Untethered Soul, I would say. But this one is more grounded in Buddhist principles. And yeah, I think it just does a great job of sort of communicating a lot of that Buddhist theory into practical insights, but also just in sort of like communicating it. Because a lot of that stuff, I don't know, it can just be pretty abstract, talking about like karma and, talking about like love and kindness and metta and all of that. It can feel pretty abstract. So it's really nice to have someone, especially someone with a background in psychology, to sort of translate and communicate that, and make it super digestible. So yeah, that's been super awesome. And then, this last one is called Meditation for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. I also have his other book somewhere here. He has another book called 4,000 Weeks. Actually, I think I do have it here. 4,000 Weeks. And this book I read, I think I've talked about it before on the channel, but I basically read this like, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. It was after I'd gotten rejected from like this job that I really wanted, and I was feeling lost and kind of broken. And so I read this, and it talked about how, you only have 4,000 weeks. And so you have to be okay with like not being able to do everything, and not being able to, just not being able to do like everything that you want, and just kind of like accepting that and recognizing that, life is finite, and the things that you'll be able to accomplish in life are also finite. So this was a great book, and I think it's kind of like self-help productivity, but it's kind of like anti-productivity, because it's kind of like encouraging you to be okay with like not doing like everything. So I thought this book was really powerful. And then I picked this up because, again, the last couple months, huge life transition, and I was in a bookshop. I think I was just in Barnes & Noble, and one of the folks who worked at the shop gave it to me as a recommendation. It was just like, hey, like I noticed you were picking up a lot of like some of these self-help books. Like, are you going through like are you going through a life transition? And he basically explained to me that he had also recently kind of switched jobs, and a lot of things were fluctuating in his life, and he picked up this book and it was super helpful for him. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'll pick it up as well. And yeah, from that recommendation with him. And I really like how this book is organized, because it's kind of organized in the way you're meant to approach it is I think read one chapter a day for over the course of 4 weeks. And I've kind of been reading it over the past 2 months, so I haven't stuck with it every single day. But each chapter kind of takes like between like 5 to 10 minutes, and it's just like one a day, and it's super helpful, really nice for like sort of setting intention in the mornings, and especially like if you combine it with like the morning pages, which is what I've done. So yeah, just like starting off the day really intentionally, having a really nice like yeah, launching off point. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. Yeah, so that's pretty much kind of like a lot of the books that I've been reading. There's a few others that I've also been reading, like a few other fiction ones and a few other kind of like Buddhism ones, but I don't want to dive into those too much right now. But yeah, just thought I'd record a quick video kind of giving a quick update on like what's been going on. Yeah, I'm super curious as to what people are kind of thinking about what might be helpful and what might be good to like talk about in these videos. I kind of want to just experiment. Maybe I'll do like a couple and kind of see, what resonates and, sort of what doesn't, and just try and treat this as an experiment and, iterate on things. And my goal is to hopefully, have these videos become something that I feel like is maybe a little bit more artful, still kind of keeping this like conversational and sort of like chill vibe. But yeah, just something that feels maybe a little bit more like craft oriented or artful. I mean, I don't know how it's going to develop, but that could be really cool. But anyway, just wanted to touch base with everyone. I hope everyone's having a great February. Yeah, wishing you all the best and looking forward to posting more videos, starting my writing and everything like that. And you'll see a link in the description if you want to check that out. And yeah, just looking forward to like leaning into this community. It's been so awesome, and everyone is so positive and has been so kind with like all the videos that I posted last year. So I'm just so grateful, and I look forward to, interacting and talking and chatting with you soon. So thank you so much for watching, and talk to you later. Alrighty, I feel like that was good.